What if your birthday wasn't a celebration, but just another ordinary day? No cake, no party, no spotlight. Shocking, right? In this video, we uncover the hidden psychology behind people who treat their birthday like it doesn't exist, and why that choice speaks volumes. Chapter 1: The Silent Ritual: Why Some People Downplay Birthdays. Imagine waking up on your birthday and feeling no urge to announce it, no desire to gather friends, no craving for cake or candles. The day arrives quietly like any other, and you move through it with the same rhythm as yesterday. For many, this sounds unusual, even shocking. But for some people, treating their birthday like a normal day is not neglect. It's a deliberate ritual of silence. Birthdays have become cultural performances. They are expected to be loud, colorful, and shared. Social media amplifies this expectation, turning a private milestone into a public spectacle. Yet there are those who resist. They choose to walk through the day without fanfare, as if refusing to play a role in a script written by society. This act of non-celebration is not emptiness, it is meaning in disguise. Psychologists often note that rituals are not only about what we do, but also about what we refuse to do. By ignoring the birthday ritual, people create a counter-error ritual. They reclaim the day from external expectations and make it ordinary, grounding themselves in simplicity. It is a quiet rebellion against the idea that joy must be performed. Think of someone walking through a crowded street where balloons float above heads, cakes are carried in boxes, and laughter spills from cafes. This person carries only a coffee, or maybe a book. They are calm, invisible in the crowd, yet deeply present. Their silence is not sadness, it is a statement, "I do not need spectacle to mark my existence." Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This quote fits perfectly here. For some, ignoring birthdays is not about rejecting joy, but about refusing to wear a mask. They do not want to perform happiness for others, they want to live authenticity, even if it looks ordinary. There is also a psychological comfort in normalcy. Life is filled with peaks and valleys, but the ordinary day is stable. By treating their birthday as just another day, people anchor themselves in continuity. They avoid the pressure of expectation, the fear that the party won't be fun enough, the cake won't be sweet enough, or the guests won't show up. In silence, there is safety. This choice often surprises others. Friends may ask, "Why don't you celebrate? Don't you want to feel special?" But the truth is, feeling special does not always require external validation. For some, the most profound celebration is internal. A quiet walk, a moment of reflection, or even doing nothing at all can be more meaningful than a crowded room. There is also a cultural layer. In some societies, birthdays are communal milestones, celebrated with family and community. In others, they are private markers of age. People who ignore birthdays often come from contexts where individuality is emphasized, or where personal rituals outweigh collective ones. Their silence is shaped by culture as much as by psychology. The act of downplaying birthdays can also be linked to identity. Some people feel uncomfortable being the center of attention. They may dislike the spotlight, the forced smiles, the scripted congratulations. For them, ignoring the day is a way of staying true to themselves. They do not want to be actors in a play they never auditioned for. At the same time, there is beauty in the ordinary. By refusing to elevate one day above others, people highlight the value of everyday life. The morning coffee, the evening walk, the quiet dinner, these become the true celebrations. The birthday dissolves into the flow of time, reminding us that every day carries meaning, not just the ones marked by candles. This perspective challenges us to rethink celebration itself. Must joy always be loud? Must milestones always be shared? Or can authenticity be found in silence? The psychology of ignoring birthdays invites us to see meaning in the ordinary, to recognize that sometimes the most powerful ritual is the refusal to perform. If you find this exploration intriguing, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. By joining, you'll stay connected to more insights into the hidden psychology of everyday life, and you'll help us continue uncovering the stories behind human behavior. The silent ritual of ignoring birthdays is not emptiness, it is presence. It is a choice to live without spectacle, to embrace authenticity, and to find meaning in the ordinary. For those who walk quietly through their birthday, the day is not forgotten. It is lived simply and fully, without the weight of expectation. Chapter 2, Shadows of Expectation, the Psychology Beneath the Choice. When someone chooses to treat their birthday like it doesn't exist, the decision often runs deeper than a simple dislike of parties. Beneath the surface lies a complex web of emotions, expectations, and hidden fears. Birthdays are not just dates on a calendar. They are mirrors reflecting how we see ourselves, how we measure time, and how we believe others see us. Ignoring them can be a way of shielding yourself from the weight of those reflections. One of the most powerful forces behind this choice is the fear of disappointment. Birthdays carry an unspoken promise that the day will be special, that people will remember, that joy will arrive in abundance. But reality rarely matches the fantasy. The cake may not taste as sweet as imagined, the guests may not show up, or the messages may feel obligatory rather than heartfelt. For someone sensitive to unmet expectations, it is easier to erase the day altogether than to risk the sting of disappointment. There is also the fear of rejection. Birthdays place us at the center of attention, and not everyone feels comfortable there. Some worry that their celebration will expose a lack of connection, that few people will come, that fewer will care. By treating the day as ordinary, they avoid the vulnerability of asking for recognition and potentially receiving silence. In this way, ignoring the birthday becomes a protective shield against loneliness. Another layer is the discomfort with aging. Birthdays are milestones that remind us of the passage of time. Each candle on the cake is a marker of years gone by, and for some, this reminder is heavy. Ignoring the day allows them to escape the confrontation with age, mortality, and the pressure to achieve certain milestones by certain ages. The silence becomes a way of pausing the clock, if only symbolically. Cultural expectations also play a role. In many societies, birthdays are celebrated with grandeur, often tied to consumer culture, gifts, parties, decorations, and social media posts. For someone who feels alienated by these norms, ignoring the day is a refusal to participate in a system that commodifies joy. It is a rejection of the idea that happiness must be bought, displayed, and validated by others. The psychology of ignoring birthdays is also tied to the concept of the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves that we prefer not to show. Birthdays can bring these shadows to the surface. They remind us of insecurities, unresolved conflicts, or feelings of inadequacy. For example, someone who feels they have not achieved enough may dread the reminder of another year passing. By treating the day as ordinary, they push the shadow back into silence, avoiding confrontation with uncomfortable truths. At the same time, ignoring birthdays can be an act of control. Life is filled with events we cannot dictate, but choosing not to celebrate is a decision entirely within one's power. It is a way of reclaiming agency over how time is marked. Instead of surrendering to tradition or expectation, the individual asserts their autonomy. I decide what matters, and this day does not. There is also a subtle resistance to performance. Birthdays often demand a performance of happiness, smiles for photos, gratitude for gifts, enthusiasm for gatherings. For someone who values authenticity, this performance can feel false. Ignoring the day allows them to avoid pretending, to live without the pressure of acting out joy they may not feel. Consider the image of a cake left unlit in a dark room. The cake exists, the candles are ready, but the flame never touches them. This image captures the psychology of ignoring birthdays. The potential for celebration is present, but the choice is made to leave it untouched. The silence is not emptiness, it is a deliberate refusal to ignite expectations. For some, this choice is linked to solitude. They may find peace in spending the day alone, reflecting quietly rather than engaging in social rituals. Solitude becomes a form of celebration, one that does not require external validation. In this way, ignoring the birthday is not a denial of meaning, but a redefinition of it. The psychology beneath this choice also reveals how people relate to others. Some individuals feel that birthdays place an unfair burden on relationships. Friends and family are expected to remember, to show up, to give. Ignoring the day removes this burden, freeing others from obligation and freeing oneself from disappointment. It is a way of simplifying relationships, stripping away the transactional nature of celebration. There is also the influence of past experiences. Someone who has faced painful birthdays, forgotten by loved ones, overshadowed by conflict, or marked by loss, may choose to erase the day to avoid reliving those memories. The silence becomes a protective ritual, shielding them from the echoes of past hurt. Yet beneath all these motives, there is a common thread: the desire for authenticity. Ignoring birthdays is often less about rejecting joy and more about rejecting falsehood. It is about living truthfully, even if that truth looks ordinary. For some, the most honest way to mark the day is not to mark it at all. This perspective challenges us to reconsider how we view birthdays. Are they truly celebrations of life? Or are they performances shaped by culture and expectation? The psychology of ignoring birthdays suggests that meaning is not found in candles or parties, but in the choices we make about how to live each day. The shadows of expectation, fear of disappointment, rejection, aging, performance are powerful forces. But by choosing silence, individuals confront these shadows in their own way. They may not light the candles, but they illuminate authenticity. Their refusal to celebrate is not a denial of life, but a statement about how they wish to live it. Chapter 3: Authenticity in the Ordinary, Redefining Celebration. When someone chooses to let their birthday pass quietly, without candles or parties, it may seem at first like a denial of joy. Yet beneath this silence lies a different kind of celebration, one rooted in authenticity, simplicity, and the power of ordinary life. To treat a birthday like it doesn't exist is not to erase meaning, but to redefine it. In a world that constantly tells us to perform, to display happiness, and to prove our worth through milestones, ignoring a birthday can be a radical act of self-integration. It is a way of saying, I do not need spectacle to validate my existence. This choice reframes celebration itself, shifting it from external rituals to internal truths. Authenticity often hides in the ordinary. The morning coffee, the quiet walk, the small acts of care, these are the moments that carry real weight. By refusing to elevate one day above others, people highlight the value of every day. Their birthday becomes a reminder that life is not measured by grand gestures, but by the steady rhythm of living. This perspective challenges the cultural script. Society insists that birthdays must be marked with parties, gifts, and public acknowledgement. Social media amplifies this, turning birthdays into performances for an audience. But authenticity resists performance. For those who ignore birthdays, the ordinary day is not a failure, it is freedom. It is a way of living without the pressure to act out joy for others. Consider the image of someone planting a tree on their birthday. There are no balloons, no guests, no cake, yet the act is deeply symbolic. Planting a tree is ordinary, but it carries meaning, growth, continuity, and grounding. This is the essence of authenticity in the ordinary, finding celebration in acts that align with one's truth, rather than in rituals imposed by culture. The psychology of this choice reveals a desire for grounding. Life is filled with noise, with expectations and demands. By treating the birthday as ordinary, individuals anchor themselves in simplicity. They remind themselves that meaning does not need spectacle. The act of living authentically, even in silence, becomes the true celebration. There is also a sense of agency in this choice. Ignoring birthdays is not passive, it is active. It is a decision to reclaim control over how time is marked. Instead of surrendering to tradition, the individual asserts their autonomy. I decide what matters, and this day is mine to live as I choose. This autonomy is itself a form of celebration, one that honors authenticity over conformity. Authenticity in the ordinary also speaks to the process of individuation. the journey of becoming whole. Birthdays often emphasize the persona, the mask we show to others. Parties and rituals highlight the social self, the image we project. But ignoring the birthday shifts focus inward toward integration of the self. It is a way of living truthfully, without masks, without performance. This redefinition of celebration invites us to reconsider what joy truly means. Must joy always be loud? Must milestones always be shared? Or can joy be found in silence, in solitude, in acts that align with our deepest values? The psychology of ignoring birthdays suggests that joy is not about spectacle, but about authenticity. For some, this authenticity is found in solitude. Spending the day alone, reflecting quietly, or engaging in simple routines can be more meaningful than any party. Solitude becomes a form of celebration, one that honors the self without the need for external validation. In this way, ignoring the birthday is not a denial of joy, but a redefinition of it. There is also a cultural dimension to this authenticity. In societies where birthdays are heavily commercialized, ignoring them becomes a rejection of consumer culture. It is a refusal to equate happiness with gifts or parties. Instead, authenticity is found in acts that carry personal meaning, even if they appear ordinary to others. The act of treating a birthday like it doesn't exist can also be seen as a grounding ritual. It reminds us that life is not defined by peaks, but by continuity. The ordinary day is the foundation of existence, and by embracing it, individuals find stability. Their birthday becomes a reminder that every day carries value, not just the ones marked by candles. This perspective also highlights the importance of self-trust. Ignoring birthdays requires confidence in one's own values, even when they contradict cultural norms. It is a way of trusting oneself to define meaning, rather than relying on external validation. This self-trust is itself a form of authenticity, one that strengthens identity and integration. Authenticity in the ordinary also challenges the idea of time as performance. Birthdays often emphasize age, milestones, and achievements. They measure life in numbers and accomplishments, but ignoring the birthday shifts focus from measurement to experience. It is a way of living in the present, without the pressure of comparison or expectation. Consider again the image of the unlit cake. In Chapter 2, it symbolized hidden fears and shadows. But in this chapter, the unlit cake can symbolize freedom. By refusing to light the candles, the individual refuses to perform. They choose authenticity over expectation, silence over spectacle. The cake remains ordinary, yet the choice carries meaning. This redefinition of celebration invites us to see authenticity not as grand gestures, but as alignment with truth. For those who ignore birthdays, the ordinary day is not emptiness, it is presence. It is a way of living authentically, without masks, without performance, without the weight of expectation. The psychology of authenticity in the ordinary reminds us that celebration is not about spectacle, but about meaning. It is about living truthfully, even if that truth looks ordinary. By treating their birthday like it doesn't exist, individuals highlight the value of everyday life, the power of simplicity, and the beauty of authenticity. In the end, ignoring birthdays is not a denial of joy. It is a redefinition of it. It is a way of celebrating authenticity, grounding, and self-integration.